to join us today. I've got two of my favorite people on the planet. I don't hope he's not in the planet. Today on the show, we got the amazing Zach Brown and also the fabulous Paul Gowder. Fellas, thank you so much for joining us again today. This is going to be a fun show.
Yeah,
you got it.
It's going to be great. Good morning.
So is it stinking hot in Florida, Zach? Because it is stinking hot in Texas. You have the heat dome or heat button or El Nino or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. We're supposed to get up to, I think, 109 this weekend. So, yeah, stay inside, people.
Are you going to go to the parks?
I think I'm going to go tonight to get ahead of it, and then I'm going to stay inside for the next 2 days.
Gosh, I can just see those little kids melting on the pavement on Disney.
All those people with the backpacks.
That's right. That's right. Hey, we've got some people showing up who show up every week, and we are very thankful for them. The Mr. Rich Graham saying, hey-o to you. And we're going to answer one of your questions at the end of the show, Rich, that you had that we didn't get to last time, so we'll talk about that in a bit. We've got Disney Hotel Lady just throwing some hands at us today. Thank you for that. And we've got the amazing Amy Keys saying, happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday to you as well. We've got all sorts of people showing up. Video Like a Dad saying, morning, gents, morning. Thank you for showing up. And Michelle is here saying hello. So hello, Michelle. This is going to be a fun show. So, by the way, as we go along today, make sure you ask your questions wherever you're watching down below, because we want to make the show all about you, because we're going to have kind of like a different kind of format this week. But I'm going to go ahead and hit go, fellas, and we will get started. You guys ready?
Let's go.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. Let me get my cursor up, and there it is. And here we go. Hello, folks. Welcome to Creator News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Paul Gowder, and this is the show that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the world of the creator economy and so much more.
And I can't find my space right now, and so I'm going to have to edit this in a minute, because here we go. This is the show that keeps you up with the creator economy and so much more. And have you ever scrolled your feed and realized you can't tell which posts were written by a person anymore? Do you ever wonder what's actually left that a robot can't do for your business? And to be honest, have you ever been sitting on a question for us that we never got around to answering? If that sounds familiar, you are in the right place.
This week, there's no guests, because the guests are our hosts, Jeff C. and Paul Gowder. They are taking the hot seats to break down the two things AI can't fake: storytelling that actually connects and community you actually own. And then they're opening the floor for an Ask Us Anything, starting with every question we didn't get to last episode.
So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind, and get ready for this week's episode of Creator News Live.
It's Creator News Live, no guest in the chair. Paul and Jeff with answers to spare. Stories and community, the skills that stay true. Ask them anything, folks, this hour's for you.
So that little graphic there was actually after Paul's bourbon tasting, and I just happened to breathe on the fire, exploded, and Paul laughed at me. So that's why I picked that graphic today. Sorry for that. I don't know what's going on with my buttons today, but it's a little crazy. So we're just going to go. Zach, you have the floor. You're going to be taking us through this, so let's go.
Cool. So before we get started, I want to ask our audience, to be honest, how much of your content did AI write this week? Do me a favor, type the word human if it's all you, robot if AI does the heavy lifting, or teamwork if you're like me and somewhere in between. So get in the chat. Let's get rolling.
All right.
We're going to start at the beginning, because that's the best place to start. Jeff, you went from the manly Pinterest tips to running live shows for some of the biggest names in this space. Paul, you started powwows.com 25 years ago. Don't feel old. As a college project. Tell us the story behind that. Tell us the story behind the story, and what the origin still teaches you about why people actually followed you in the first place.
Paul, you go first.
Yeah, so I say I'm an accidental entrepreneur and actually an accidental streamer too. Both of those things came about because I just fell into it, right? So the whole college project, I was just playing with HTML, but it was the community, it was the people showing up that started asking for things, like asking for a way to know where powwows are around the country. So I figured out how to build a calendar. People asking for a way to talk with each other. So I figured out how to build a forum. And for me, I just lean into that. If they ask for something, I try to deliver. Sometimes I'm a little ahead. Sometimes I'm way behind, but that's been what we've done at powwows.com, is just try to deliver what our community wants and give them ways to engage, and then get out the way.
That's awesome.
That's
man.
great.
Yeah. So, by the way, before, talking about getting out of the way, I got too far ahead and I did not mention our sponsors, which are the amazing folks over at Ecamm. Find out more about them at ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save 15% by using the code Jeff15 at your first purchase. And so it's funny because, so you asked about mainly Pinterest tips. That's where I started. Like I had started I was doing a website design company. I was building stuff out, and social media started happening, and people asked like, "Hey, should I be on it?" And I well, I kind of need to find out about it. And I heard about Pinterest from the Social Media Examiner's podcast, and I said, "Oh, I need traffic," so I started doing that. That led into the Manly Pinterest Tips show and podcast, and that's how I got my job working for Social Media Examiner, and worked there for about 5 years, and was able, when I first started, it was the wild west of like live video, which I've always loved, and got people like Guy Kawasaki on, and the producer of Pretty Woman. I mean, it was anybody could come on your show. They didn't care. It was just, just like, hey, we're live. And it was like you had a television studio in your pocket. So that's kind of how it all started. And then it's just, making connections. Like I can trace my job, because I produce Guy Kawasaki's Remarkable People podcast. I can trace that back to a comment that I made on Peg Fitzpatrick's post over on Google Plus, and we just started chatting, and I was asking questions, making thoughtful comments. I wasn't sucking up, and that relationship developed. So when he actually wanted to do a podcast, she called me. So that's kind of how it all happened. So very, very cool.
And I love that, because it's all about that human connection. That's the thing that AI, I don't think, can replicate. Like, I love what you said, Paul. You're giving them what they want and then getting out of the way. Jeff, you were like, I'm just reaching out one human to another. And it's crazy in this world where anybody can post 30 posts a day with AI now, which is wild. Like, our feeds are full, our inboxes are full. Most of the text we're getting through sounds exactly the same. I think we've all seen that. And this landed for me, thing to somebody's text message. From where each of you sits, Jeff, then Paul, like, what has AI actually changed about what cuts through? And what's the thing that you still just can't fake, or that AI can't fake, excuse me?
So for me, it can't fake, I'll start there, is like what we're doing now. Like I see Rich Graham in the comments, he said combo, he does, you asked that question in the beginning, he kind of does both. And so for me being able to see the comments, oh, Amy Keys is here. Oh, Jim Fuse just stopped by saying good morning, gentlemen. That connection, I think, is what made it for me that could not fake. In fact, when I first started, I mentioned the web design business, is that I hit my limit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're in a small town and like you're doing the websites and people come argue with you like, my son can do it. And I'm like, I needed to expand my area. And now with technology, live video, the internet, all this stuff, we can expand and not just like, okay, I'm doing a service-based industry in my small town. I can expand my reach, and that's what I was luckily to be able to do. What was the first part of the question, Zach, about AI? Because I don't think AI can fake live video easily at all.
No, like what has it changed about like what you feel cuts through like the noise?
Oh, I think like this is what cuts through the noise. I like being able to talk, like that I can have Paul on and we can go down tangents, and then, just this connection that we have through live video.
Yeah.
And in fact, Paul and I don't get to see each other except for a couple times a year. Same with you, Zach, is that, but because of the connection and the technology we have, and that we show up regularly in each other's feeds and shows and, whatever that you're producing, when we get to a conference or we're together at like Disney or something, it's just like we continue the conversation. And I think that's what's so powerful.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's the relationships. The fact, like when Rich Graham says the animation with me without a hat on is off-putting, like, because he's used to seeing me this way, right? And people are used to seeing me with the shirt. So it's those relationships. It's getting, when people start knowing you, and that matters. And then the other part, I don't think that AI can fake it, even if you're posting 30 times a day, is your experiences. So even if you are posting 30 times a day, if you're putting in your story, your take on things, that's the part it can't fake. It can try. But yeah, it's people are not necessarily following you because you're the best at, posting 30 times a day. It's your experience, your unique perspective. Yeah, that's what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I think perspective is power.
Yeah.
AI can maybe know facts about you, but it doesn't know the emotion that you felt. It doesn't have your memories. AI can't formulate the feeling of you and Jeff and Fulgens and Rich all crammed into my Malibu, leaving Podfest and heading to the Wilderness Lodge for
Right,
dinner.
right.
Like, you can't replicate that. So we're pulling from that into our stories, into our emails, into our posts. AI cannot replicate that. I don't think it can ever get that close to being human. And it's very important that we, not just as creators, but people as a whole, take into account when they want to villainize or,
Right.
speak negative of AI. It's like,
AI
it's
can't
not
sit on
us.
your lap in the Malibu like Paul did on me. So it's it's never going to be that close ever.
Yeah.
So leading into the story aspect, where do you find your stories week to week? Like, walk us through how a moment, comment in the chat, somebody in the comments, something they're asking. How does that turn into a story that you tell in the show? Is it, an email? Is it a post? Like, where do you find your day-to-day content?
Paul, you go first. You got a gazillion sequences anyway, so you have to find stories. Like
Yeah.
you're real good at it.
Yeah. Honestly, I have started writing them down and keeping track of when people do ask questions or make a comment or something like that. And because that'll cue me, like there are some stories that I didn't think were stories that happened in the past. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that is something I need to reference. And so I'm actually trying to keep those, using something like, what's the name of that site? Trello. I have here's stories and videos I want to make. So I'm trying to keep track of them there. A long time ago, Amy Keys told me to keep a folder of people that write me and say good or bad things. And so I've been keeping an email folder. So that's one of the ways I pull from, because again, I'm trying to just follow what my community says. And there's so many times they'll ask a question or they'll reference something. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that probably is something I need to talk about.
Yeah. So you mentioned, where does AI help you tell stories? For me, for like even putting together the show, it has sped up the process for all the tasks that would suck time away. And now I have more time to actually go out and find those stories or tell my own stories by combining two things together. A lot of people wrote back a couple weeks ago. I wrote this article about squirrels and how there is an article from a scientific study how they'll go and get the almonds that they love instead of stopping at getting the normal stuff that they usually eat, and how we need to. I was comparing it like we don't need to get the the bottom rung as we're trying to with AI, make it the easy button, but actually go further. And that story happened because I was able to go research, and I have AI actually help me go and surface stories for me to read, and that stimulates my brain to, creativity is like just basically combining two things that haven't been combined before or in your own way or something like that. And so that's what helps me is I have a morning brief that comes to me every day now where I'm not trying to learn everything about AI, but I try to kind of stick to my lane about visual marketing and visual stuff that AI can do. And so it surfaces that stuff out to me every morning to keep my, brain working on that stuff. So that's how AI has helped me to do it. But I don't think like that Tuesday, Wednesday email that I usually write, that's never AI. It helps me gather information, but then the voice is mine. And that's one thing that I'll never mess with, because I want people to know that one's for me.
And I think that's the fine balance where you're like, I'm using that tool, but I'm not telling it to go put the story together. Like, you're pulling it from your emotions, your humor. Like that email, I remember because it was well written and I knew this was from a human being, not a robot. What do you feel that the best is the biggest storytelling mistake that people are doing too often? They're just kind of passing off the keyboard to AI. Like, what do you think the biggest mistake is there?
Paul, you got one?
I mean, I think it's what we were just talking about. It's not putting your own story in it and letting AI tell the entire story. You have to make references to something that you can pull from, right? And if you don't put your own emotion, if you don't put your own touch on it, your uniqueness, yeah, there's so many posts out there you can just look at and say, oh yeah, that was all written by a human, right? And then you just skim past it, right? Because it doesn't. Why do I need to read this? And you can tell those, and so yeah, you just skim past them. It has to have a personal touch.
So I want to pull up a comment from Amy. She goes, I love both of your stories and your emails. One of my favorites is when Jeff saw the construction guys on the roof. Yeah. So what happened is I was up on I can't remember. I think I was in the UK speaking, and I looked down and a guy was working on a roof. And I don't think he realized that there's buildings above him that could look down on him. And he went to the corner and just took a leak. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to write about that. And it's so funny. The best compliments that I get is, people say AI could never make that up. That's what you want, right? Like you want that kind of stuff. And I want to pull up another comment from, this is what from Michelle. She goes, AI helps me organize my thoughts so the story makes sense and doesn't have a rambling, wandering post, which is great. That's exactly a great way and the way I use it too. And then Rich Graham says, hey, Jeff, are you using voice dictation to write Whisperflow? Yes.
Yes.
Rich. Whisperflow has changed my life. It is so cool because it works in everything with Slack and, writing emails. It's just, I hit 2 buttons and talk. And I call it visual vomit because I just sit there and go, like when I'm coming up with the image that you saw of like Paul and I on the campfire, I just kind of went bleh out to it. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to talk about da-da-da. And Whisperflow cleans all that up and sticks it over there. And so if you haven't used Whisperflow, they have a great free plan. And then you share it with all your friends and you get a bunch of other free plans stacked on top of that. So that's what I did.
Go ahead, Jeff, and I'll tell you, here's a story for Whisperflow. I use it to when I'm like dictating an email or something like that, or dictating a prompt in ChatGPT. I'm trying to find new ways to use it. And yesterday, I was putting off doing a task. We're redoing our Powwow calendar, and I needed to send my developer a bunch of feedback on all the pages. And I'm like, I just don't want to type all that. And yesterday, I was like, oh, hey, idiot. Use Whisperflow. And so I just pulled up the pages and just vomited into Whisperflow and then said, okay,
clean it up.
Let Claude clean it up and make it pretty and understandable. Yeah. Saved me so much time.
Yeah. It's fun. My daughter, she always send my emails to Abby for her to look at beforehand, make sure all the links work and I didn't say anything stupid or insensitive, which I have done before. And she came back and says, Dad, did you really write this? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I made that promise that I would only, and she goes, well, that was really good. And so that's a good thank you, daughter, when she thinks you're lying about the article you wrote. So anyway.
This was too polished to be you.
Yeah. And then Kevin from Doghouse Media says, AI is great to help organize my thoughts, and it can't replace the unique stories, passions, and purpose to define who we are. So that is very, very true. Yeah. And then Dustin saying he's been doing the voice vomit with AI for years. It's very helpful. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you're talking about good content, good stories that attracts people. The more and more people you have, you build this little thing that we lovingly call a community. So for our audience today, where does your community actually live? In the comments, type rented if it's all on social platform, owned if you've got an email list. Paul, it's getting all excited, or your own community space, or both if you're working the funnel. So guys, good stories are what get people to show up. But I think the more important question to ask is what keeps them showing up in your community. And you two are two very different examples of how people can do it. Paul, again, how powwows.com for 25 years, millions, that's right, millions with an M of followers, and his community has been moving to the land he owns, not rented space. And Jeff, anybody who has been in this chat on a Friday knows about how you actually build that.
Yeah, and Paul? My tech cut out. What were you saying the last part? How great I was? I missed that.
Yeah, cut too.
Yeah. I want to hear about how you weekly showing up and your community showing up. They're regulars by name. It's part of the kind of the rhythm of the show. How do you build that? How do you get your community to keep showing up? That they're not just followers, but they're part of the community.
Paul, you can go first because you have a 1 million+ Facebook group.
So I think of it like this. Facebook was where we have our biggest following, and that is where we can just broadcast stuff out, try to find people that will engage with our content. And it's more of a why, just casting a net. Yes, some of those people do kind of fit into our community and want to follow us. But some people are just engaging because they saw an interesting story. They engage and move on. So if I can take them by using techniques like putting a link in the first comment or other things and get them into our newsletter, that's where I really feel like is the heart of our community. And that's where I put my personal touch into it. On Facebook, it's not necessarily me talking all the time. It's more the brand name or the brand voice. But in email, I write all of those emails from me, very personal. And like this week, this was really cool talking about email. A lady sent me a card off of our newsletter, and telling me how much she loves our newsletters.
Nice.
That kind of stuff. Yes, it's just so incredible because you're engaging with them, they actually feel that connection. And so that's how I do it anyways.
Yeah. I think that's great. So you mentioned the audience engagement, asking them, saying like where your community actually lived. A lot of people say both, which is great to hear. Because, for a long time, people were just using like Instagram as their website, and found out that was not probably a good idea. I love it that a lot of people say both. And for me, the thing is hanging out with Paul, helping me develop my email list where I own that. Like that is something I own. Probably going to do a community in the fall, like an actual circle community where people from the show can come and talk. And we have, some other stuff, kind of like what Paul is doing with his community as well. I think the biggest thing for me, I think it was quoted by, I think it's Woody Allen maybe. He said the biggest part of success is just showing up. Like I think so many people stop before the finish line. Like get almost there and they're like, oh, it's not working, and they quit. Or this podcast, only got 100 people to listen to my last episode. If 100 people showed up in your house, you'd freak out, right? Like in Texas, you'd get shot. Like 100 people show up at your front porch, something's wrong, right? Like the rifle comes out. But here, I just think that I have showed up, and I've even had guests say, hey, can you move this show so I can be on it because I have a conflict? I'm like, nope, my audience is here, 10 a.m. Central, every Friday. Like that's the deal. Like, so if you're trying to build a community, and Paul has done a great job with this with his email, but everything comes down to consistency. You have to continue to do things. Paul always sends out an email. He's got a sequence. He constantly refines those sequences. We do this show all the time, every Friday, no matter what, unless, once in a while we're traveling or something else happens or we got a conference or a speaking gig. So I think that the consistency angle is huge, and it's hard. It stinks when you first start and nobody shows up, not even your mom. That's not fun. It's hard. So what I did, and here's a little hack, is I would have my friends show up and I would precede them with questions. I did a lot of magic and performing in college, and you have plants. Like you put plants in the audience. You can do plants for your live show, not like FICA or shrubbery. I'm talking about plants, people that you put in your audience that actually can ask you questions in it. And it spurs conversation to those people who are watching and maybe lurking for the first time. So be consistent. That's the biggest thing for me.
I love that.
Oh, Barbara's got a great question for Paul. I want to pull this up so before we forget. She goes, what do you think? I know the answer, Barbara. What do you think of using Substack for the newsletter and email address acquisitions?
So I think if you are bringing those emails into a platform like Kit, where you own and control the list, it's great. Substack lets you build a newsletter, but they are not, and you are not owning that list completely. They are a social media platform like everybody else, and they will change the rules. So just be careful. If that's the only place you're building a newsletter, you need to be taking those email addresses and putting them in a platform that you control completely.
Paul, would you say that if you compared apples to oranges, Beehive is better than Substack for this if you were having to pick one of those kind of social / email platforms?
Yes. Beehive is closer to Kit than Substack. They have some of the same features. They're trying to be feels more like a social kind of engagement on Beehive, but they are closer to Kit than they are to Substack. So yes, Beehive is a good in between, but as so many people tell me, well, I know I need to be on Kit. It just costs a little more. Well, sometimes the best thing costs a little bit more money. And here's a story. As a photographer, if everybody goes through this as a photographer, you buy like 6 tripods before you finally buy the expensive one. So stop buying the cheap stuff and just buy the thing you need from the beginning, and you'll end up saving money.
And and Kit though has, I think it's up to 10,000 subscribers, isn't it, that you can get for free?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
There's no real excuse if you haven't started an email list. Don't hang up from the show. Hang up. Who hangs up a show? But don't leave the show. Go after the show and start a email list. Like, just do it. Like, I don't know, smart enough, but I somehow fell into it. When I even did Manly Pinterest tips, my only call to action, because I didn't have anything, was like, join my newsletter. And that made a difference in the long run because people signed up because they wanted to hear from me. And so even if it's just that, like at the end of your podcast or your show or YouTube video or whatever, have that place where you can slowly start building your list because it makes a huge difference. So Dustin has something that's really interesting. He says consistency is important. I think another thing that is important is getting your story in front of other people's audiences. This isn't talked about nearly enough. Paul, what do you say to that?
Yes, I totally, being a guest on podcasts is great, but I also I spend a lot of time in Facebook groups giving value and answering questions, not salesy, but going in and genuinely providing value and trying to help people in other people's Facebook groups. And I've gotten a lot of messages and clients from doing that. Again, I'm not going in there saying, hey, buy my course on how to build your email sequence. I'm actually answering questions. And then somebody will message me and say, hey, can you help me a little bit more with that? And I was like, yeah, here's what I do. Right. Yeah. So I think it is important to do all of those kind of things. And really, you got to get your story out there. Nobody knows who we are.
Yeah. Speaking about knowing who you are, our sponsors, eCams, they have, one of the things is showing up like at conferences. Like we go to Momentum. Yes. That's where we all kind of met and hung out. Dustin talked about getting in front of other people's audiences. Getting to, event is actually getting in front of somebody else's audience because they brought them together, and that's where you can actually meet a lot of people. In fact, eCam's doing one where I'll be speaking out next month at July 9th. So a lot of great speakers. If you're going to be in the Chicago, Crystal Lake area, we'd love to see you there July 9th, right before MacStock, which I'm excited. I've never been to that conference before, so I'm excited to go see that. So go check them out. So little plug there. Sorry, I had to do it.
No, you're good. And before we move on, I want to kind of speak into what Dustin was saying here. I think sometimes we get a little nervous about being in front of people, around people that we don't know, sharing your story. Well, what if they don't like me? What if they think I'm stupid? Well, what if they're the catalyst for the next season of your life? What if they are the people that open the door? Don't hold back. Like, they might need your story, but you also might need their connections. You don't know. Don't hold back. This is all about networking and meeting new people. The world is a lot more friendly than we give it credit for, as long as we actually do the work and show up.
Yeah, it's hard. I get it. Like, I went to a meetup from a mastermind I'm in that I lurk in mostly, and it was uncomfortable. Like, most of the time when I go to conference, somebody recognizes the weird beard and they say, I can find somebody there, right, to latch onto. So I felt like I was at junior high at the first dance, like where everybody, you're like lining the walls, checking each other out. Like, I ain't going to dance. You going to dance? I ain't dancing. That kind of thing. So I get it. Like, it's hard, but go in with a plan. Paul is one of the best. When he goes to an event, like, he has an agenda. Like, forget Jeff. I'm going to go talk to this guy at Kit because he's got, he's got this in. So Paul, talk a little bit how you prepare for these events that you do.
Yeah, I try to go in with an objective. Like, here's some people I want to meet, and here's connections I want to make for specific reasons. And here's one that happened. Sometimes you don't know who you're going to meet, and sometimes, right. But we were at Craft and Commerce last year, and we were standing outside talking, and behind us was the CEO of Kit, and Lou's like, oh, there's Nathan. I was like, oh, you know him? How about go introduce me? Right. And so we had a nice long conversation with the CEO of Kit, and because of that, I was able to get into a beta program the last month in testing one of his products because I just made that connection with him. So you never know what those connections are. So yeah, I try to go in with either connections I want to make or specific questions I want to get asked. I know who was going to speak last year at Craft and Commerce, and there was 4 or 5 people I really wanted to go shake hands with and say something to. Yeah, you have to, and that does help. And for me, I would rather hang on the back wall and not talk to people. So for me, that forces me to do that at a conference. I don't like the networking thing. I'm not good at that, but going in with a plan makes me do it.
It's sometimes harder, but I think going to the smaller conferences like Momentum, Craft and Commerce, Creator Camp, it almost forces you, because a lot of times they'll have some mixer things where you're like, oh, this is weird, I don't want to do this. But then once you do it, you make friends. I mean, I've had masterminds. I've got one that I've done over 10 years now. We meet on Monday mornings with Eric Fisher and Anthony Witt, that I met at it was like a podcast movement. It wasn't even podcast movement at the time, before Social Media Examiner. And I met those guys, and it developed into a mastermind that we know everything about each other now. Too much, actually. But that kind of stuff can happen if you go with that agenda, like Paul was saying. It's like, I'm gonna go outside of my comfort zone, because that's where good stuff and new things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love this. This is what I'm all about. So we're going to pivot here just a little bit, and we're going to talk about money, but I don't want it to be gross. And both of you monetize your community, your sponsorships, content, memberships, affiliate work, lots going on. How do you make money from a community while making the community feel served instead of sold to? What is the line for you guys? Jeff?
Oh, you're gonna ask me first. So I only share things that I really believe in. So a lot of it comes with affiliate stuff. Like I talk about Ecamm. Now, I used Ecamm way before I was ever affiliated with them or spoken at any of their conferences or knew Katie or any of those. I liked it as a product, and I used it a lot. Like, it's the same way with the script. I love the script. I use it every day. It's a big part of my workflow, and I just talk about it. And then that led to mentioning it, and then a lot of these have really great affiliate programs, and you can make really good money. If people trust what you're saying and trust you, and you have a relationship with your audience, that's where something like that makes sense. Now, if you notice, I really just push Ecamm because they sponsor the show. I really like it. I'm a part of their community. I don't like hop around and like, hey, here's a new thing. I'm not like selling stuff every show. It's the same people. Right. And so once again, it comes back to consistency, and that stacks. Like if you have a good product, then that makes sense for you to do, and stacking it makes sense. And then, then people want you to come, talk to their community, and then you can have speaking gigs and fees. And then, all my stuff is very, very, I think, organic feeling. Like, I'm not a big sales guy. It's more of like, hey, do you want to join our mastermind with Paul and I? We do this. We just started a new one, and we'd love to have you there, that kind of stuff. And so for me, it's very organic. And I say this, and we talked about like having the core of your AI kind of know who you are in our mastermind call. And for me, one of the cores is I would rather lose business than a relationship. And I've always had that. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are friends with, they were business with me before, they're not anymore, then they come back. And so that kind of philosophy for me is kind of my core, and has worked well for me. Paul?
So for a long time, our primary revenue source was develop content that our community loved, drive them to the website for them to consume the content, and we make money off advertising. That's still part of our revenue stream, but with the way SEO and everything has shifted, it's not our primary anymore. It's still a big one, but it's not our primary. So we've had to figure out other ways of doing it. One of those is I developed a digital product. And for the first year, I sold a digital product about what to expect at your first powwow. I had that as an email sequence for years. In fact, I was working with Claude on my kit yesterday, using it to help me look at some analytics. And it's like, you've had the same landing page since 2019. I'm like, oh, okay. So I've had that sequence since at least 2019, and it does really well, and it helps people answer some questions, get things on, and I get a lot of responses. So I know it works. So I finally took all that content and turned it into an ebook and let people purchase it. Then my community kept asking, I really would like to have that book printed. I'm like, it's a digital book. Why do I want to sell a printed version? And they had to hit me over the head with it, but we did finally come out with an actual printed version. And so now they order that, and it's selling well. Again, it's listening to your audience and figuring out how you serve them, and packaging it up in a way that they want it. yeah, that's what we've been doing. And we're also, exploring other things. Like we have a Mighty Networks now that we're trying to funnel people into, and there's an option there to have a paid version of that. We're also playing with some newsletters that are paid now, things like that.
Yeah. I want to take the Disney Hotel ladies got a great question. I think it's something. It's funny that she finds it shocking because you guys are so good at it and have made so many connections. It's kind of shocking to hear you don't like it. She's talking about networking, like when we go to conferences and stuff.
Yeah, it's
because it's easier. It's easier to sit in your corner and do anything. One of the things is last week I had an opportunity to do some remote production and some editing for a really big company, and I was scared. Like it's a big one. It was one of those kind of those white whale things that I was wanted to do, but I even told Jody, said I'm scared to do it, but I'm more scared not to do it. Does that make sense? Like it, and so you have to kind of take that energy of fear and flip it on its head and use that as like, okay, I'm going to go talk to this person. I know I'm going to be weird. I know I'm going to turn bright red or whatever, but I'm going to make myself do it because the good stuff happens outside of our bubble. And that's why I tell my kids, like, I know it stinks and it's uncomfortable and you don't want to do it, but when you do, you increase your opportunities, so much. Paul, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah. I'll be honest, as far as like showing that I'm reluctant. Lou doesn't like when I tell the story, but my first two Momentums, when you go to Momentum, you get your bingo card at the beginning and you have to go around the room and find people that match your little things on your bingo card and fill it out. I think the first two, maybe three Momentums, I didn't do it. I would not. And I was a speaker. Hilarious. I would not walk around the room and do it. I would just hide in the corner and talk to a couple of people I knew and just avoided the whole thing. It is a great prompt. And now I do them now and complete them. But yeah, then I don't like doing that stuff. And it's hard for me.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is if you go to a conference and you have people like, I know Paul and Zach and Amy and all these other people who go to Momentum, it's really easy to go in your clique because it's easier, right? Yes. It's great. Go out to dinner with them. Like go out and have fun, make time for your friends because that is important to develop relationships. But also don't make a conscious decision that I am not going to sit there and just talk to Paul. It's really hard for me to do because it is easier. And so it's doing those hard things. Disney Hotel Lady says, just like me, I'd rather not, but have to. That's a great way to do it. That's why you can think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are watching that they are new to this. They're starting out, they're trying to figure out what things they need to be doing next. So let's kind of do a start from zero scenario. You wake up tomorrow with only 100 followers. I mean, only, that's still significant. No list, no group. You keep everything you know now. What do you each do in the next 30 days to build a community step by step? The representative from South Carolina House of Lore.
Everybody knows what I'm going to say. You start with the list. I still think that's the most important thing right now. If some of you tried to log into Facebook this morning, it was down for like an hour. Right. Yeah. These platforms are going to change. That's the only thing we know about the social media platforms is they will change the rules on us. So own your list. So the first thing I would do is start an email list, start with a sequence that answered a question I know my audience needs help with. And then I would start posting on social, trying to engage people with that type of content and driving them to the newsletter. That's where I would start.
Yeah. I think for me, if I had to start from zero, the list for sure. But to get people on the list, I still think going live is anybody, I mean, you can make a YouTube video, right? Like you can, but if you wanted to build a community, I still think live video is so powerful. I get that it's hard. That's why you should do it. Like we talked about earlier, the hard things are what moves the needle the biggest. And taking swings until you figure out how you want to do your live show. Make it easy like I do. Get a co-host and a guest, and like then you can hide. Like I can pull up Paul and like, oh, I gotta take a drink of water, that kind of thing. So I mean, like that's where you should go. I just think, and then have your list on that. Like hey, if you want to follow and learn more about me, here's let's go to jeffc.com/news, and everybody can do that and sign up for your list. I just really like, and do it consistent. Like pick a time that you can always do it. And let's say do it for 3 months and see if it moves the needle, but do it every time that same way every time so people can show up and know where you are. But that's what I would do to to build a list or start from scratch, because anybody can go live. And I get like being on camera stinks. Like if I can do it with this face and weird beard, you can do it. Like I want to be the example of like what not to do, but you can still do it and be successful. So that's what I would say.
And if we're honest, like you're saying, just showing up, community burnout is a real thing. We don't want to talk about it, but it's real. How do you keep showing up for your people year after year without resenting it?
Resenting the people or
just the grind of it, knowing that you got to do to show up to give them what they ultimately deserve.
There are days. I mean, there are days where I am tired and I don't want to do it anymore. There's a couple things, and I think you and Jeff talked about it on your show, Zach, is you have to find some other outlets, some things to break up the day, or things to break up the weeks, the months. From us, it's travel, and that does help break up and keep things fresh. But it's also, and I'll go back to something Amy Keys told me a long time ago, and that is to save all of those emails so that when things are hard, that I have something to go and read and look at and remind myself of why I'm doing it and how I'm serving the community. And then that helps me keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've said this before, but every Friday I wake up and I'm like, why am I doing this? What no one's going to show up. And I feel like throwing up. I mean, every Friday. And like people are like, really? Like Disney Hotel ladies, like, really? I can't believe it. Like, yeah, it just every time. But I do it because once I start it, it's great. Like when I see people in the comments, like Yap with Lauren and Disney Hotel Lady and Rich Graham, that people who I know are going to be there and I can have a conversation with, that's what excites me. And that's what keeps me going. Like you make a commitment to yourself. Like, this is what I do. This is who I am. Yeah. It's every Friday, 10 a.m. Central. It's seen people like Lou, he goes, hello from Dallas. Like, I know Lou, he's supposed to be on a plane right now going to China. So I'm really interested in the story. I don't think there's storms in Dallas, but anyway, but it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Like, he should just stay in the lounge and eat sushi. And cause he says the weird beard should be your brand and website. So see, I need new friends. But let's see what else. This is great from Amy. She goes, being an entrepreneur is lonely. Find your people. Yeah. Call them when you have one of those days when you want to burn it all down. That's funny, Amy, because I sent a message to Lou and Paul the other day going, we got to go somewhere. I'm just ready to burn it all down and dig a ditch and just be a ditch digger. That's all I want to do. Yeah. So anyway, that it's very, very true. Having those people do it. And then like Michelle says, from Fun in Key West says, I love catching the show on Friday. Keeps me motivated. Well, see, like those kind of comments, that's why we do the show. Yeah. That's why we do the show. So, and you're welcome, Lou. He goes, gee, thanks, buddy. But
I also think I had a moment last week where it was just, I was frustrated and the day was getting away. I wasn't being productive. And sometimes it's best just to walk away. And like for me during the weeks, if I get that way, I'll go play around a disc golf or go for a walk. Jeff, I know you go for walks during the day too. Sometimes it's just don't force yourself to sit there and do it, because then it does become a more of a grind. Take breaks when you need, even if it's just for a couple hours.
Yeah, except when it's hot, like in Texas. Like you don't go outside. Like do some Pilates or something on the floor. Like just like I'm not going to go out there. So anyway, by the way, we're going to get ready to do the Ask Us Anything. So this is wide open questions for Zach, Paul, and me. But first, I want to give a special thing from our sponsor.
When your show deserves the very best, Ecamm stands above the rest. Ecamm.com/Jeff, won't you see? Broadcasting brilliance, easy as can be.
That's right, ecamm.com/Jeff. Go check them out. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Ecamm. We appreciate you. All right. Take it away, Zach.
Cool. So again, we are going to do an Ask Me Anything kind of lightning round, whatever you guys want. Let's not get too personal, but we have to lead off the batting order. We have a debt to pay. Rich Graham, he asked how to tell whether your personal Facebook profile is actually a professional or a creator profile. And Paul, you promised him a follow-up, so you got to be a man of your word. On the record, how does someone check what kind of account they have, and how do they turn professional mode on if they don't?
So the first thing is, when you go to your profile, whether on desktop or mobile, if you see the button that says dashboard, then you have turned on the professional mode. If you don't have that turned on, then it's just a matter of, when you're on your profile, click the three dots over on the side, and you can come down to edit profile and turn on creator or professional. Facebook's not consistent on what they call it, but it's the same thing, whether it says creator or professional. That's what you want to turn on. And then you'll get analytics, you'll get eventually you'll get the ability to monetize, and you'll be treated more like a page, but still your personal. And it also turns on the ability to follow you, not just friend you.
Yeah. Make sure you ask your questions as we go along. I wanted to give this question. It's a comment from my friend Rich Graham. He's in Dallas, and he goes, "I'm not old enough to be a mall walker." Listen, I go walk at the mall, Rich, because you know why? Because it's hot outside and it's air conditioned at the mall. That's the only reason. And those, let's say, not long in the tooth, elderly, they smoke me. They're going a million miles an hour. I'm like, I didn't think jogging was allowed in the mall, but they somehow just overlook these people doing that. So I have no problem with walking in the mall.
Last episode we covered what comment jail is, but not what to do once you're in it. So if you're sitting in a 14-day comment restriction right now, what should they actually do during those 14 days? Posting or going quiet so your reach doesn't crater for, just the next 2 months?
Yeah. This is what I would do. And again, we don't know exact steps because Facebook won't tell us. But for me, I would look at your posting schedule. If you're posting 4 or 5 times a day, maybe back that off to once or twice. Stop sharing to groups during that 14-day time, because that could be where they're marking you as spam if you're sharing to too many groups. And cut down on how much you're commenting. Some of the things they are looking at is if you are sharing to multiple groups at the same time, if you are going in and commenting the same thing across multiple posts. So for example, if you take a post you did and you share it to 5 groups, and then you go to each of those 5 groups and put the same comment on that post, that's the kind of stuff they feel like is spam, and they'll detect you and put you in jail. So those are the things I would back off, and then just slow down your posting schedule just a little. But you want to keep posting because you want Facebook to still see that you are valuable and that you are building engagement, so that you'll come out of that.
Yeah. So Disney Hotel Lady's got a great follow-up to, as we mentioned, the free kid account before. She goes, "Paul, advice for making best use of the free kid account because you don't have all the bells and whistles. I think you can only have one sequence, or maybe not even at all. I'm not sure.
One automation. Okay. One automation. So you're allowed one automation. So you want to think through and shoot me a message. We can talk through it. Make that automation as robust as possible. Put as much stuff into it. For me, I run a ton of different sequences, and I don't even know how many, and ton of different automations. But since you only get one, just put everything into one automation that you can, and we can talk through the strategy of that, and then just use the one sequence that they let you have to really be your best stuff, that one sequence that's going to provide the most value for your reader.
Yeah. And to be honest, there's usually one sequence that's like your main sequence that works really, really well. So them allowing you to have one that you can really optimize, it can get you, I think it can hold you off until you hit that 10,000 plus subscribers, or until you grow your list enough to know, okay, this is working. I need to maybe have some new sequences and actually pay for kit or something like that. Paul, I know Facebook has come out with some new, account levels. I mean, that you can subscribe. They have Facebook verified, but then they also have these new ones that they're rolling out. And you mentioned before on shows that we've been on, that might be a good idea to do, especially if you have a group that's growing or you want to protect your account. So a couple of questions I have is should we spend I think it's $16, $15 a month on verified if we have a Facebook account, we're going live in there a lot, or we have a group? And second, if something happens, let's say you do put in comment jail, or you get suspended, or you're blocked, so many people see, it seems to be on the rise.
Yes.
how long should you wait for them to fix it before you start a new account?
All right, so let's deal with, should you be verified? Yes. Everybody who is a creator or trying to grow on Facebook to grow your business or whatever you're doing, yes, you should be verified. That is, for me, that is the best insurance you'll ever have. It's not 100%. It doesn't guarantee that they will fix everything, but it does give you the ability to talk with somebody. I had an issue 2 weeks ago, and they actually called me. And so I actually got a real human on the phone and was able to, have a conversation. So yes, get verified. Now, as far as like how fast you should do it, if you're verified, you should instantly, as soon as you feel a problem, you should be in that support and opening up the support ticket and trying to get on the phone with somebody to fix it. But I also think you should, depending on what you're doing, you should probably have a backup account. So, and a page that you're putting a little bit of effort into so that you do have somewhere to go. But if you're also building a list, that is also your backup. So you can use that if you need to. There's some steps there to kind of have some backup and insurance to fall back on. It's scary. None of it's 100%. And
So Disney Hotel Lady has a great question for you, Jeff. She's asking, should you choose one AI to learn or be a Zach of all trades and jump around?
So I think you are going to end up jumping around anyway. So I think having some processes down so it doesn't matter is what you can do. You can use a tool like Magi is a great one as well. Kind of Dustin was in here. But what I like to do is I like Claude right now because for me it's the best one that's working for what I'm doing and how it works. But OpenAI could come out tomorrow, like with something big. And the bad thing is OpenAI has the best image model right now. Like the thumbnail that I used today was built with ChatGPT's image model. And so I have Claude write the prompts, and then I'll take that into ChatGPT because it has the best thing. So until this plays out, and who knows what's going to happen, you're going to have some things better at one model and some things better with another model. So what I like to do is have, and this is what I tell people in the mastermind and everything, is like create like documents, like they're called in Claude, they're .md files, which is markdown files, which is that knows you. Like I have one where my constitution, what Jeff believes in, like I'd rather lose business than a relationship. My AI knows that, right? It's built this document about who I am, what I believe in, my philosophy, right? That's one. Another one is my business. Like what am I trying to do? What are all the different aspects? My live show, my email list, my coaching, my masterminds, all that stuff, it knows in that document. And the thing is, these documents are living documents. I can go and amend them anytime, but I can point any AI to those as the memory. So when I switch and go back to OpenAI, I can point those to those. This is who I am. This is my business. This is this client. This is whatever. So build those first and have it interview. Like the Claude right now has a really great ask questions feature in it, and have it interview you for like a half an hour and just talk back and forth and let it build that document, and then put it to a place where you can upload it into the cloud so it's easy to access with those other things as they come along. So that's what I would do. And yeah, Dustin even says, yeah, the model ping pong is rough, especially with image generation stuff. Like, one day it's Midjourney, then it's ChatGPT, and tomorrow it's going to be something else. So having these documents, and that's the other thing with your design files. Like I have a design that has all my logos, all my colors, all my fonts that I can point whatever AI I'm using to, and that seems to be working the best for me. So that's what I would do first.
Yeah. And just to swing back, if we can, to Paul, Disney Hotel Lady saying, if I understand correctly, you cannot bundle paying to verify for Instagram and Facebook. Is that correct?
I think you can, at least when I look at it for powells.com, it gives me a discount if I select both of them. I don't know about for creators, but I know if you're a page, it does let you bundle them together.
Yeah. That's a great question though, because it feels like we're getting $9.99 and $15.99 a month to death, like with all these subscriptions. So,
yeah.
So go ahead.
On last week's show, Paul, you were talking about your 30-minute a day, question. You telling people about your Facebook challenge, which is great. But could you be honest, kind of pull back the curtain and give us an actual routine. Like if someone has exactly 30 minutes a day for Facebook this quarter, what is the minute by minute breakdown? And Jeff, coming to you after that, what does your daily 30 look like across all platforms?
So I'll do it on, I have a Facebook group and a section over on our Mighty Networks for travel. And when I'm working on that, I only do that once a week actually. And I'll go into Claude and try to help it tell some stories and say, I want to talk about this story and I want to tell this story and I want to, give these tips, and I'll go through and have it create, 5 or 6 conversation starters, 5 or 6 polls, and then take some of the stories and give me an outline for a script. And so on the travel, that's what I do. I do that like on Tuesdays is my big content creation day. And so I'll go through and then I'll just schedule all of those for the next month. And then I'm done with that whole side of Facebook.
Yeah. So for me, 30 minutes a day, does it have to be for Facebook? Is that what you're saying?
Across all platforms.
Platforms. So this is what I would do, because I'm talking to myself here. I would learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable doing video. Like the Yap videos, I know Paul and I have been talking about this, learning how to talk to the camera and being very organic and learning how to do hooks and being uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to have to learn how to be comfortable by being uncomfortable in front of the camera. I think that's the unlock, because avatars, and I mean, they're getting so good, these AI avatars and stuff, being able to go live, being able to go and walk and talk, which is even harder maybe to maybe do in your neighborhood. I think those are going to be the skills that are going to help you cut above the noise. And I know a lot of people are like, Jeff, I don't want to do video. I get it. I don't want to do it either. But I think it's just a fact of life. If you want people to know it's you and connect with you and build a community, I think you have to figure out a way to talk to your audience with video. I just really believe that.
And here's a great example, Jeff. You and I were talking about this the other day. I forgot her name, but there's a creator that just rolled out a challenge where she's helping people create these Yappy videos, and she sold $1.2 million worth of that course in a week or something. What I've done to help, because I'm trying to do one of those at least once a week, travel related. And so I have gone and found some people that are really good at that have models and suggestions on like what your hook should be and your storytelling, how your storytelling flow goes. I've taken their models, put it into Claude as a project and said, when I tell you I want to tell this story, use this framework to help me come up with an outline for it. And that helps me not just sit down and ramble for 2 minutes, but actually tell a good structured story.
And I just saw in the news too, on that same note, like if you're using the Edit app on Instagram, it's got a built-in teleprompter. So if you're nervous about speaking, like it's got some things where you can put some bullet points and just use that. And then you could use the Edit app right in there. Rich says, it's Jessie Jean. Crazy story. Yeah. And she's only been doing it for like a year. Like she's only been doing and she was like doing furniture reclamation kind of stuff. And now she's turned into this big Yap influencer. But he goes, it's really hard to record into a phone out in public. So I would do it in your house, Rich, but having it like handheld. Those seem just to be for building organic reach and connecting with your audiences. Doing that instead of sitting like in a YouTube set or a set like we're in right now, for those kind of videos just seem to do better. I think that's kind of the way to go. So, and Disney Hotel Lady says, I did a video this week and I watched it back. My face looked terrible, red and splotchy, but I went ahead and posted it. There you go. Shows it's not AI. That's right. You know what? I get like, oh, my mustache isn't even, who cares? Nobody knows. So I think you did the right thing. Good job. So we are at time, boys and girls. This has been a lot of fun. Zach Brown, you handled this perfectly. Like you got in the hot seat and you were able to interview. So tell people, where can people find the amazing Zach Brown? I know you got a book coming out. Talk about that a little bit.
You can follow me on the socials at Zach Brown Creative, and my first book, An Accidental Education, What I Have Learned So Far, releases on June 23rd, and you'll be able to find that on lulu.com and Amazon. I'm really excited to get that into your hands.
So make sure you guys check that out, because Zach's writing is awesome. His email is really, really good too, so make sure you subscribe to him as well. Paul Gowder, what's going on with you? What's you got going on?
Yeah. Doing a lot of training and videos right now on Facebook and building your social media profile. So come check it out. paulgowder.com/creator news. I'd love to help you with it.
And as always, I'm Jeff C. and you're not. And we wouldn't be able to do this show without you because we have
The Creator News Live Chat Room, the best chat room in the world.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you. We'd be able to do this without you. And thank you for our sponsor, Ecamm. Make sure you guys go check them out. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks.